Hey guys, a little bonus content before your bonus content, I guess. Just wanted to duck in here and say, well, actually, here's a little story. When I first started this episode, it was all ready to go. I had it uploaded. I was incredibly nervous because I didn't think anybody was going to listen to it. And then I realized about 24 hours before I put it out that my first episode was going to be the only episode before Halloween. So I had to go and record something about Halloween before I released it. Um, Sort of similar story. When I recorded this, I kind of forgot that this episode was going to be released like a day and a half after the Alabama special election. um, so there's no content on this show about Doug Jones's historic victory in Alabama. Um, so we'll do a little bit of that now. Um, just a quick cheers and jeers section. I'm not gonna throw on the ukulele for this. I'm just going to quickly run through a couple of things. First of all, cheers to Doug Jones for running unapologetically as a Democrat in a deeply red state. I mean, this is the first time that a Democrat has won in Alabama in 25 years, and in that time, 2 years after the last Democrat was elected, he flipped over to the Republicans. So this is actually huge news. And for Doug Jones, like I said, unapologetically a Democrat, unapologetically holds Democratic values. Isn't like a conservative Democrat. They didn't run a Democrat that that they wouldn't want to run in another state, like in a typically like a swing state or a typically blue state. Like they ran a Democrat who, believes in freedom of choice and believes in gun control and believes in funding health care for children. They ran a Democrat. Doug Jones decided to run. He really could have been embarrassed here. Decided to run and fucking won, which is fantastic. So cheers to Doug Jones. Cheers also to black women who seem to be the only people in America who are trying to save that country in en masse. They came out, I think, to the tune of like 98% for Doug Jones. So that's amazing, and I think that the Democratic Party needs to open its fucking eyes and realize that people of color are the way forward. And you know what? The white people who matter, they will fucking vote for you too. Cheers also to Jake Tapper for fucking destroying a Roy Moore surrogate on his show just before the exit polls went out. First round of exit polls went out, I should say. I posted this on the Facebook page. If you haven't seen it, please search it out. It's hilarious. Typical, Roy Moore surrogate who's just talking about, the Muslims can't serve in Congress or the Senate because they have to swear in on the Bible, and they can't swear in on the Bible because they're not Christian. And then Jake Tapper just tells them, well, you could basically swear in on anything. Like, you could swear in on a pile of comic books and that would be okay. You didn't know that, did you? You fucking moron. It's one of the fun, like, you can actually hear the sound of silence start to play in the background of the Roy Moore surrogate's head, which is just fantastic. Cheers also, and this one can't be said enough. Cheers to those Republicans out there who decided to vote for a Democrat because voting for a Democrat is better than voting for a fucking pedophile. That, you made the right decision. Ideologically, I might disagree with you most of the time, but you made the right decision there. You made the right call. Okay, jeers. Jeers to Roy Moore. Fucking concede. You lost. Because you're a fucking pedophile, because you fucking molested people, because you touched people when they didn't want to be touched, you used your power as a fucking judge or whatever the fuck to force yourself on young women who couldn't defend themselves, and now you've gotten fucking spanked by the American people. So take a fucking seat and get out of public life. You're an awful human being, and you need to go away. Okay? See you later. Bye-bye. Jeers also to Roy Moore's brother, who right up until the election, saying that he's actually saying now that Doug Jones is going to have to pay for what God's going to make him pay for what he's done, because apparently Doug Jones is the reason why. And this is one of those fucking conspiracy theories that people like Roy Moore and his family would have, that Doug Jones and the Democratic Party paid the people to make false accusations against my brother, blah blah blah. I hope that like charges come up out of this, and that piece of shit gets to rot in jail. Let's go jeers to Roy Moore. Did I jeer that piece of shit already? I did. Well, he gets it twice. Jeers to Roy Moore for the juxtaposition of his speech at the end of the night versus the speech from Doug Jones. Doug Jones quoting Martin Luther King Jr., saying that the bent of the history bends towards justice, and Roy Moore, well, God's on my side. We have to trust in Almighty God. Like, oh my God. Meanwhile, there's God. If God were to exist, there's God going. You know what? Like, you want my take on things here, Roy? Stop fucking kids. Stop. Just stop. I don't know you. Stop fucking kids. You piece of crap. Oh, you're garbage. Just so much garbage. So much trash. Speaking of trash, jeers to the Republican Party, specifically those who decided to vote for this piece of garbage. Because you now have to hold the fact you are the party that elected Donald, grab him by the pussy, Trump, and also almost tried to elect anyhow Roy, 18 is too long to wait, Moore. You're the party of sexual deviants and fucking pedophiles. That's who you are. That's what you have to live with now. Get over it. Suck it. And jeers to Donald Trump himself for losing this election twice. back Luther Strange, who, like, by the way, like, is Luther Strange, like, not a fucking Batman villain? Like, I could have sworn. Backs Luther Strange in the primary, and then backs Roy Moore in the general, and loses both times. Just congratulations, Donnie. Here's the shit that you're gonna have to wear for the rest of your fucking miserable little life. And, like, I know that Donald Trump is all the Teflon Don or whatever, but, like, Democrats, you have to make him wear this every minute of every day. You have to make him wear this, and you have to just, every time that he says, "Well, no, it's not the way that it went. It's not the way that it went." You have to say, actually, it is. We have fucking videotape of it. We have your robocalls. We know that you fucking back this piece of shit. You gotta wear it. You gotta wear it. And you're gonna have to wear it at the next set of elections for the Senate and for the House. You're gonna have to wear it at the next presidential election when we oust your fucking fat ass. Anyhow, this intro went longer than I meant it to. This whole episode now is longer than I meant it to be. I actually say in the episode that it's going to be a short one. Well, it's longer than a regular length episode now. So I'm going to shut up. We're going to hear some jingle bells. Democrat won. Very exciting. Here we go.
Well, would you look at that? It's a little bonus episode action. The John DeLong Show here on a Thursday. I've got an exam tomorrow, so of course I'm using this time to podcast. So welcome to bonus episode number 3, I guess, of the John DeLong Show. I'm John DeLong. Come on in. Hope you're having a good week. So as I may have mentioned, a few of the next few episodes of the show are banks. Already recorded this week. We've got this Monday coming up. I've got an interview with Luke Hardiman. We're going to talk about some professional wrestling. And then, of course, we got the Christmas episode and the New Year's Day episode, which is going to feature Will Young of the Elwood City Limits podcast. So over the next couple weeks, just as I have time, I'm going to duck in with some extra content. So today we're going to talk really quickly about The Simpsons. Some stuff that's been in the news about The Simpsons. I've got some takes on some of the controversy surrounding Apu, the resident owner of the Kwik-E-Mart of Springfield. I'm also going to talk about that kid that's the viral video that his mother took has gone absolutely crazy, and a whole bunch of celebrities tweeting about that. So we're going to talk about that as well. Won't be a full episode today, just a little bit of bonus content. So we'll get right into it. All right, let's talk about Apu. So you may have heard about this, but last month, Ari Kondabolu, whose name I hope I didn't too badly butcher right now, comedian, just released a documentary on True TV about his love of The Simpsons, but his hatred of Springfield's Kwik-E-Mart boss, Apu Nahasapeem Petalon. The documentary, titled The Problem with Apu, tackled Ari's lifetime struggle with Apu. Ari's Indian, and he used this movie to tackle the fact that Apu, voiced by Hank Azaria, is kind of fucked up, to be honest with you. See, Azaria, who, much like other Simpsons cast members, voices a host of other characters like Moe, Chief Wiggum, Comic Book Guy, and Frank Grimy Grimes, is white. And in a clip from Totally Biased with W. Kamau Bell, which I'll link in the show notes, Ari notes that Azaria's Apu is kind of like a white guy doing an impression of a white guy doing a mocking impression of his father. So I want to go on record before I keep on going that I love The Simpsons. I literally grew up watching it, and like the first 10 seasons are still, to my mind, some of the most perfect television that exists. I watch The Simpsons when I'm feeling sad. I watch The Simpsons when I'm feeling happy. I watch The Simpsons when I've stumbled home from karaoke night and I'm demolishing a donair. The Simpsons like a warm security blanket for me, and I'll admit some of my favorite episodes heavily feature Apu, and sometimes even feature him as a key component. Another bit I'll admit, I'm completely approaching this from watching primarily the first 10 or so seasons. Not much else. My top 10 episodes of the show barely migrate out of this set of episodes, so my experience with Apu is limited to these episodes. Along with a lot of things on that show, the quality, is different. I'm not going to say it went down necessarily. It's just it stopped being as much for me. So the quality of the jokes around Apu are different. He talks about this in an article from the AV Club that I'll also link. So anyhow, with those disclaimers, and if we set aside just for a second the accent and the actor that voices Apu, I think the character's been treated actually pretty well. So the thing about Springfield and the world of The Simpsons is that it deals entirely in caricature. Chief Wiggum is not just the chief of a small-town police force. He's a largely incompetent, fat, lazy, pig-like cop who happens to be the chief of an ineffective police force. Grandpa Simpson isn't just like some out-of-touch senior. He's this old coot who lives in a nursing home and rambles on about tying an onion into his belt, which was the style at the time. Mr. Burns is not just like a rich octogenarian. He's that typical Republican donor, isn't he? So, yeah, there's a lot that's problematic about Apu, and I'll get to that in a second, but I do want to acknowledge that he's also been